Gastropod Enterprise Internal Memorandum, Classified Report DPA-01, Document ID 1994 AKDPA-013. Clearance Level Restricted Tier 4 Access Distribution Internal Use Only. Section 1. Initial Discovery. In October 1992, a series of low-frequency seismic disturbances were recorded deep beneath Denali National Park, Alaska. At first, they were dismissed as aftershocks from tectonic activity, but over time, a pattern emerged. Pattern Sigma 7. A pulse, rhythmic and precise, echoing from 20 miles beneath the Earth's crust. The frequency did not correspond to any known natural source. It was too perfect. Ground-penetrating radar confirmed the impossible. A structure, DPA-01. Size, approximately 1,200 feet high, larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Material, unknown. Surface composition resists all forms of scanning and radiometric dating. Shape, perfect symmetry. But the angles, they aren't right. What lies beneath Denali is not a natural formation. It is something else. Section 2. Structural Properties and Emissions. DPA-01 is built from an unidentified compound with molecular density 7.4 times greater than any known terrestrial alloy. Initial probe samples dissolved upon contact with oxygen, leaving behind residue. Observed anomalies include geometric inconsistency, structure dimensions fluctuate slightly when observed over time, electromagnetic distortion. Prolonged observation disrupts surrounding electronic equipment. Biological interference. Prolonged exposure induces visual and auditory hallucinations. But it's the pulse that's the real threat. DPA-01 emits a continuous low-frequency pulse between 4.1-7 Hz. This frequency is known to induce theta brainwave activity, a state between wakefulness and sleep. Prolonged exposure results in changes. Section 3. Incident Logs and Exposure Effects. Event 09A, January 1993. Description. Personnel at Monitoring Station 3 reported hearing voices originating from deep beneath the ground. The voices spoke in fragmented phrases, multiple languages, some unidentifiable. Result: 2 personnel exhibited acute cognitive drift and required immediate isolation. 1 individual disappeared after 36 hours. Security footage shows them exiting the perimeter, but they never arrived anywhere. Event 12B, March 1993. Description. Seismic pulse deviation recorded. Visual anomaly captured on thermal imaging. Entity detected 13 meters from Station 2. Observation. Entity, but with human anatomy. Limbs appeared at the joints. Head shape with articulation. Thermal signature indicated a biological presence. Result: entity observed for 17 seconds before visual distortion rendered it imperceptible. Section 4. Entity Classification and Description. Category: Biological constructs. Initial encounters suggest these entities are not fully biological. Tissue analysis indicates a hybrid composition. Organic material fused with unidentified metallic compounds. Physical characteristics: form variability. Entities display shape-shifting properties under observation. Limb count and symmetry shift depending on perspective. Perception disruption. Direct observation triggers visual inconsistency. Some personnel reported double exposure phenomena, as though they were seeing multiple overlapping entities at once. Movement pattern. Motion is described as disjointed, with sudden shifts in position that bypass observable locomotion. Note: thermal signatures remain detectable even after visual contact is lost. They are still there, even when you can't see them. Section 5. Behavioral Observations. Entities exhibited disturbing awareness of observation. Personnel assigned to monitoring stations reported feeling watched, a presence just outside their field of vision. Cameras left recording during non-peak hours captured movements, but only when no one was watching. Entities move closer when they are not being observed. When observed directly, they seem hesitant, contained. But once attention drifts, they close the distance. Section 6. Cognitive drift and human impact. Exposure symptoms. Personnel exposed to DPA-01's emissions begin to display cognitive drift within 12 minutes. Initial symptoms include auditory phenomena, voices, static, and distorted speech, visual anomalies, geometric distortions in peripheral vision, time lapses, inability to account for gaps in perceived time. Progression. Advanced exposure leads to psychosomatic dissociation. Victims report feeling disconnected from their own bodies, as though observing themselves from a distance. Stage 3 exposure symptoms: recurring hallucinations of entities, loss of spatial awareness, involuntary vocalization of unknown languages. Personnel exhibiting Stage 3 symptoms must be immediately isolated. Failure to isolate increases the probability of non-local convergence. Section 7. Escalation and Oversight Transfer. By June 1994, pattern Sigma 7 exhibited further structural anomalies. The pulse began to change. It was no longer just a signal, it was communication. Embedded within the pulse were linguistic patterns. Non-random, deliberate pattern recognition algorithms identified biological markers within the data. Something or someone was responding. That's when Gastropod Enterprise stepped in. Section 8, Gastropod Enterprise Directive. Oversight and Containment Protocols. Gastropod Enterprise assumed control of all DPA-01 operations in July 1994. Their stated objective was to recalibrate containment protocols and suppress anomalous transmissions before escalation became irreversible. Protocol Delta 9 was initiated. Pulse disruption algorithm breaks linguistic patterns embedded within pattern Sigma 7. Containment Isolation Directive reduces personnel exposure below 6-minute intervals. Cognitive Barrier Implementation limits awareness of entities beyond baseline parameters. Directive Compliance. Failure to adhere to Delta 9 compliance increases the risk of convergence events. Section 9. Final Warning and Consequences. Do not observe beyond permitted parameters. Personnel are advised to limit observation time and adhere strictly to established protocols. Do not engage auditory phenomena. Do not acknowledge visual distortions. Do not watch for too long. Do not let your mind wander. If you look too long, they look back. Appendix A. Unexplained Incidents. Log Entry 0609-1994. Event. Pattern Sigma 7 deviation detected. Increase of plus 1.2 Hz. Result. Containment grid recalibrated. Cognitive drift reported in 3 personnel. They were closer this time. Appendix B. Gastropod Enterprise Memorandum. 2. All monitoring personnel. Protocol compliance and observational boundaries. You are not alone down there. They know you're watching. Stop watching too long, and they'll take a step closer. End of document. Gastropod Enterprise. Secure horizons. Hidden paths.
You choose on this question. Array of all passwords, always as first. Let's